Breaking news on HQ, the Bears are keeping Allen Robinson around for at least another year. He gets the franchise tag from Chicago in an expected move. Robinson was the #1 ranked wide receiver, according to CBSSports.com, our rankings over there in wide receivers who could potentially become free agents. He was ranked just ahead of Chris Godwin. Since 2015, these are the wide receivers who have been tagged. Godwin gets tagged today. A.J. Green got tagged last year. That was obviously a mistake. Did not work out for Cincinnati. Nobody was tagged in 2019. All right, let's get Jonathan Jones, our senior NFL insider, in here. And JJ, I mean, if you're on social media, a lot of people are feeling bad for Allen Robinson because just when you think he has a chance to go out and find a great quarterback to throw him the ball, the Bears just yank him back, and we still don't know who the quarterback's going to be.
That's exactly right. And we all saw this coming, that Allen Robinson would be tagged, despite him very much not wanting to be tagged, especially after a season where he was just tagged. This is a guy who has led the Chicago Bears in receiving yards each of the past 3 seasons. Had his injury in Jacksonville. Before that, he led Jacksonville in 2 of his 3 years there. So this is a guy who produces year in, year out, and he has done so with the Chicago Bears. So good business practice would be to go ahead and lock this guy up and not just tag him 1 year and tag him the next year and have these gigantic cap numbers and cap hits on your books, especially in a year like this. Chicago, if they really wanted to, would have gotten this deal done last fall. They would have worked with Allen Robinson's representation to get him a fair deal, and a fair deal for him would be in the $19.5 to $20 to $21 million per year range. We're talking Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen money for Allen Robinson. He hasn't said that's what he wants, but you look at the market, that's really what it would bear out for him. So here they are coming right under that $20 million per year mark with the franchise tag. They have a very disgruntled wide receiver now because they have not given him a long-term contract despite him very much earning one. And so we're going to see if this means he stays in Chicago. I'm not entirely sure that this means that he's going to be out there on the field for the Chicago Bears in week 1, just because he's tagged. A tag and trade eventually to a trade partner that he would accept may very well still be on the table moving forward.
So who holds the cards here in that circumstance if that were to come to fruition? I mean, you said he's owed probably $19.5 million, $20 million on the open market, and he's only going to get about $18 million on the tag.
Yeah, along with, of course, the guaranteed money and the protection of the long-term deal. And so if he and the Bears can work something out, I don't think that right now it is a fait accompli that he won't be playing for the Bears in 2021. If they tagged him at the deadline to make sure that he wasn't going to be a free agent, we all understand that. I think what would be fair to Allen Robinson, and what I think a lot of free agents who are looking from the outside into Chicago want to see from GM Ryan Pace, is, hey, you take care of your own. You take care of the guys who produce for you and who don't really raise any complaints until it's time to really start complaining. So Allen Robinson is due his money, and if they can get to a long-term deal, I could see him in Chicago. Now, the other thing is you can't let him get to free agency if you're trying to attract a top-tier franchise quarterback. Oh, I don't know, Russell Wilson perhaps. I'm still not entirely sure he's going to be leaving Seattle. But if you want to get Russell Wilson and you want your best shot at a guy like Russell Wilson, then you need Allen Robinson on your team. And then finally, if they cannot reach that long-term deal, Allen Robinson and the Chicago Bears, Chris, to your point, who holds the cards? Well, it's difficult because if he doesn't sign the tag by July 15th, what are you going to do? You're going to sit out? I don't think that Allen Robinson's really going to sit out in 2021. But if they can't reach that deal and he is ultimately tagged, I think that at that point he would say, okay, listen, I'll sign the tag right before, but let's find a trade partner somewhere that is going to give you proper compensation for me. A high second-round pick, perhaps a first-round pick like Stephon Diggs and the Minnesota Vikings did with the Buffalo Bills last year. I could see that scenario playing out, but again, we are not yet close to that scenario really happening. This is just really the first thing that you have to do. You have to tag Allen Robinson by the deadline. Hopefully you work out a deal, and if you don't, a tag and trade may be in Chicago's best interest.
And Bears fans are hoping the next thing that happens is that they work out some kind of a deal for a superstar quarterback. You mentioned Russell Wilson. Deshaun Watson could be a possibility as well. Where are the Bears right now in trying to land one of these franchise quarterbacks via trade?
It's hard to see how they're really going to do it. And frankly, this is Ryan Pace's legacy and job on the line, the GM of the Chicago Bears. I don't know what they can give to Seattle to secure Russell Wilson. It doesn't make any sense on its face. Now, listen, every year, especially around free agency, I think we all say, it's not going to happen. In the last 3 or 4 years, something crazy has happened. You know, Antonio Brown has happened. A trade with all the dead money attached to a Carson Wentz has happened. So I'm not going to say it absolutely cannot, but it's hard to see what the Chicago Bears can give to the Seattle Seahawks. As far as everything else, I think really everything does start with Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, and that's really where the musical chairs begin to happen. Obviously, Matt Stafford wanted to get started earlier on. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is ultimately going to become available, and I think a number of people have penciled him in to New England for good reason. You look at Sam Darnold, perhaps. This is a guy that the New York Jets have been talking up because it doesn't cost them anything to talk him up. And yeah, they want everyone to know that he's a fantastic quarterback so that when they ask for a second-round pick, they're not laughed out of the room and only given a third-round pick like they probably deserve for Sam Darnold. So I think that that's more in the Bears' wheelhouse. Again, I just don't know what they can give up for a premium quarterback like Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson that either one of those franchises would ultimately take.
Yeah, I can hear the fans again. Poor Allen Robinson. Boy, it could be Sam Darnold throwing him the ball next season. Who knows? Jonathan Jones, thank you so much for the time. JJ says that, yeah, they tagged him. That doesn't necessarily mean that he will be a part of the Bears next season. Could be a tag and trade situation. We'll see. But look at the list of Pete Prisco's top 100 free agents. 7 of the top 9 have already been accounted for, either getting a franchise tag or a long-term deal like Dak Prescott.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.